Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today in the morning, I resumed my session, football session, in preparation for, Yala games that are coming in just about a week. And Mr. Speaker, as you know, we don't have any field to be able to train. So we keep on moving from one place to another. And today in the morning, I was training around Magadi Road. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I had to really rush to get here. Through your honor, may you just give me an opportunity to actually welcome the team from Migori. I'm very proud of these members of the delegated duties in the county assembly, and I hope that I'll get time to talk with them in our own tradition in Parliament here. But Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of rushing to get to this house, I also noticed that we actually are having a second week since the court did pronounce itself on the tussle that was between the minority side and the majority side on the issue of whether it was right constitutionally for the cabinet secretaries to be able to appear in this house. And indeed, the court did rule that it is actually okay, to the extent that now you can see the members of the minority side coming. But I do notice that since the ruling, this is the second Wednesday that the members of the minority have been coming. And those two consecutive sessions, the members of the cabinet have been behaving in a very funny way. They don't appear. Mr. Speaker, if you go unanswered, you realize that even when the matter was in court, I was always able to come to the house and just listen to what is going on. And I used to notice that the members of the cabinet secretaries used to come religiously and attend their meetings here. I'm beginning to think that perhaps it used to be a tete-a-tete between colleagues from the Kenya Kwanza side. It was just a dialogue, that there was no interrogation, there was no nuance perhaps in terms of engaging the county, the cabinet secretaries. But now that the opposition is here to interrogate, to scrutinize, to be able to actually ask the right questions, they are running from the house, Mr. Speaker. And this is the problem that we had seen. And actually, this also indicts the so-called prime cabinet secretary. Because, Mr. Speaker, the work of the prime cabinet secretary is actually to be able, and I'm saying so-called because it's not in the constitution, but it was created anyway. We disputed it as members of the minority side, but now that is there, Article 153 of the constitution on decisions, responsibilities, and accountability of the cabinet lies squarely with the prime cabinet secretary, because his duty is to be able to supervise and ensure that the members of the cabinet can actually come to this house and answer questions and be held to account. So it is an indictment and a big failure on Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. And before we deal with these individual cabinet secretaries, Mr. Speaker, there has to be a letter from your desk, perhaps directly to the prime cabinet secretary, that is doing very poorly and is embarrassing the entire cabinet because his members are not showing to this house. But more specifically, Mr. Speaker, as I finish, I think that I have seen in other committees that I've been in, whereby if we invite different officials in government and they don't show up, we are actually very religious also in terms of actually punishing. We punish by summon because we are mandated to do so. We punish by fines because we are mandated to do so. Mr. Speaker, the censorship that I'm expecting under standing order number 51D is a censorship that goes with punishing these cabinet secretaries with fines. And Mr. Speaker, I hope that these fines can not only be for the House, but also somebody like Senator Kinwa and Senator Chute. On that fine, Mr. Speaker, if you can be, courteous enough, you can be able to make sure that Senator Kinwa gets his 500,000, Senator Chute gets his 500,000, Senator Gloria gets his 500,000, Majority Leader gets his 1 million, so that they know that this house is a very serious house, that people must learn to respect our time, because that time is extremely valuable. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support I support the censorship from your desk to these cabinet secretaries. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable senators, I have taken time to allow a number of us to ventilate on this particular matter. Indeed, it is very serious. Now, if you look at the three letters that I referred to this morning, none of them contained a reason that is an emergency. Meaning, all the three CSs, they knew that they were not going to appear before the Senate many days ago. Courtesy demands that they ought to have communicated to the Senate so that when we were sitting in SBC, we could have then dropped their questions because under their request and picked other CSs for purposes of responding to their questions today. Now, honorable senators, we have over 60 questions in the queue. We could not pick other questions because we were convinced yesterday when we sat in SBC, in fact not yesterday, last week, we were convinced because there was no communication to the contrary that the CSS will appear before this House for purposes of responding to these questions. Indeed, receiving this communication this morning is the epitome of discourteous. Now, honorable senators, this House is not a house of lamentations. It is a house of action.